Restlessness shows up when what used to work no longer does, when striving replaces rest. Hi, friend. It's really good to have you here with me today. I'm Lucy Ann, and this is Amazing by Design, a space where we step aside from the noise and slow down long enough to notice what's really happening beneath the surface of our everyday lives, and we invite God into it all. Today, I want to begin a little differently, not with a big idea, not with a teaching, but with something personal. The holiday season just passed, and honestly, it stirred more in me than I expected. Have you noticed how the holidays tend to do that? Sometimes it's the busyness, or sometimes it's the heightened emotions, or being around a lot of people, or realizing how quiet things feel afterward. But for me, it wasn't any of that. What surfaced was a deep restlessness. And what caught me off guard was this. Even after I did the things that usually help me decompress, the quiet walks, the long baths, creating space to breathe, something still lingered. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was just there, persistent. So I've been sitting with God in real time. I've been processing, listening, and paying close attention. And that's when I realized this restlessness, it felt familiar. I've been here before. And in that moment, I knew exactly what to do. At first, it definitely took me off guard. It demanded my attention. And I knew this was worth talking about. Because if I experienced this, I know I'm not alone. So today, we're going to talk about it together. Let me clarify something. When I say restlessness, I don't mean boredom. That feeling you get when you have nothing to do. I'm talking about an unsettledness that feels real, but yet you can't quite name it. It's the sense that something inside you is so close to the surface, almost like you're about to burst, but you don't know why. And your emotions, they feel right there, close enough to touch. And you are very aware that all it would take is one word, one look, one moment, and suddenly the tears will come. Unexpected, with no clear explanation. Now, there was a time when I believed that all of this meant something was wrong. But now, when restlessness shows up for me, I understand it differently. And this is important to hear. Restlessness is not a problem to be fixed. It's not a lack of gratitude. It's not emotional weakness. Restlessness is a signal. It's making you aware that something within you is being rearranged, and often without your permission. It's an internal alert that a shift is happening. And yes, that can feel unsettling because it feels like we're losing control. And in a way, we are, but not in a dangerous way. In the past, restlessness sent me scrambling for answers. Clear steps, clear direction, certainty. I wanted to know everything. But this time, it didn't carry that same urgency. Oh, don't get me wrong. The restlessness, it was still there, fully present. The difference was this: I recognized it as an invitation to pause. What became clear to me in that moment was this: restlessness shows up when what used to work no longer does. When striving replaces rest. When self-protection becomes exhausting. And when holding everything together starts to feel heavier than the thought of letting it go. So instead of trying to fix it, I gave myself permission to just stay with it without rushing to explain it, without distracting myself from it, without trying to make it go away. This wasn't about doing something. It was about allowing space for all that I was feeling to simply exist. And in that space, I noticed something important. No matter how unsettled I felt, truth was, God wasn't pushing me. He was reminding me to breathe. Not to figure it all out, not to force clarity, but to yield. Not necessarily to yield to the circumstances, not to the emotions, but to yield to Him. And as I stayed with God long enough to feel myself settle, something became very clear. This restlessness, it wasn't random. It was actually God's way of getting my attention. Not to correct me, but to show me something I hadn't noticed yet. I realized in that moment I had slowly shifted into holding things together on my own. Sure, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was protecting myself because something inside me didn't feel safe. But once I saw that, I understood why God was inviting me to yield. Not because I had somehow failed, but because He was offering me a safer place to rest. Yielding to God doesn't mean we hide. It doesn't mean we lose our voice or our strength. It means we give ourselves permission to stop carrying the load alone. As women, when restlessness rises, our instinct is to quiet it, to make it stop. We look for reassurance, for understanding, for someone to tell us everything is okay. But what if restlessness isn't asking for that? What if it's simply asking to be heard? Beneath the restlessness, there was something deeper that God wanted me to see. It wasn't clarity, not yet. It was safety. Not the safety of comfortable circumstances, but the deep longing of the soul to know that we are seen, heard, and held. What God has shown me in a very personal way is this: our truest safety doesn't come from being understood by others or having others agree with us or even approve of us. It comes from knowing God has us from the inside out. And when that truth settles, the urgency softens. The panic quiets. And the need to be understood by everyone else loses its grip on us. Being heard by God becomes enough. And it's in that moment when we embrace that truth, that's when confidence begins to grow. Quietly and steadily. Now, this is the shift that I want you to hear today. When your safety is rooted in God, not in people, not in outcomes, not in certainty, you will no longer need permission from anyone else to honor what God is showing you. You don't need to shrink. You don't need to hide. You don't need to explain yourself. You can simply stand quietly, confidently, and at peace, even if others can't relate to the season you're in. So now, when I feel unsettled, I pause and name exactly what's happening. It sounds like this. Oh, this is restlessness again. And instead of looking for quick answers or wishing it away, I ask different questions. I ask God, what are you doing right now? And what do you want me to know? That shift right there changes everything. When I look back at what surfaced for me during the holidays, I can see it clearly now. Nothing was wrong. God was simply steadying me from the inside out. So if restlessness has been visiting you lately, don't push it away. Sit with it. Ask yourself, where am I trying to quiet this feeling? What feels tender to me right now? What would it look like to pause instead of push? And maybe the most important question of all, where am I looking for safety? and what might shift if I trusted God with that place. No rushing, no forcing, just be honest with yourself. Because it's in these moments where alignment begins. And when we align ourselves with God, there is a steadiness in our steps and peace in our hearts. If you find yourself realizing that you've been carrying heavy moments alone, trying to hold everything together by yourself, this is the kind of work I walk women through in my coaching space. It's a place to process honestly, to feel safe with God, and to move forward with peace. You'll find the link in the show notes if you'd like to connect with me. As you move through this week, may God steady your heart, quiet the noise, and remind you that He is indeed your safe place. And I'm here to remind you that you are chosen, you are loved, you are amazing by design.